They're out on the field. The pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beaches is singing "Fight, Vols, Fight." The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. The college football playoff rankings scheduled to come out later today. Want to talk about that, take a look at it, because some people think, well, your season is over. No, not so fast, my friend. Tennessee's still very much in the mix for the college football playoff. And what's interesting is we had kind of these halfway conversations leading into the Georgia game. Nobody wants to sit here and say, well, it'd probably be better off if Tennessee loses, right? It kind of came up a little bit, but not a lot. But the bottom line is Tennessee's percentage went up of making the college football playoff after the loss to Georgia, because really, if they take care of business against Missouri, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, we're going to take a look at the AP poll here in a second. They'll be set up in a very good position to kind of back their way into a shot in the college football playoff. Saw an interesting tweet from Dan Harrelson. This is Tennessee's chances to make the college football playoff according to the ESPN FPI. It started off at 48.7% in Week 8, went up to 51.4% in Week 9, jumped up to 63.2% in Week 10, and then after the loss to Georgia, it went up even more to 64%. Well, why is that? Why would that be? Well, because now they don't have to worry about a rematch with Alabama. They don't have to worry about a rematch with possibly LSU or even a shot against Lane Kiffin, as much as we would all like to see that. In the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about the college football playoff, what's more important? You know, we saw what happened to the basketball team. We saw what happened to the baseball team. What's more important? An SEC championship or a national championship? Tennessee still very much in the mix. We're going to talk about it as always. Do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin Vols Network, welcome. We're not experts, we're not insiders, we are fans just like you. For the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe, click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Appreciate you guys being patient with me this week. Still dealing with this flu junk, trying to get through it. Probably going to take tonight off and then come back tomorrow, Wednesday night, for the regular Wednesday 7 p.m. show. I know that means you guys miss out on the fan call-in show. We'll make it up to you on Saturday. We'll do a tailgate show for Missouri. Even though it's at 12 o'clock, we typically don't do tailgate shows for the 12 o'clock kicks. We'll make it up to you on Saturday, an hour before kickoff. Appreciate you guys being patient with me, man. I didn't miss this much time on the channel when I had COVID. That's how bad this round of the flu is. But nonetheless, we got a job to do. We got Tennessee football to talk, so let's jump into it. Let's take a look at the AP poll that came out this week. Clearly, Georgia up at the top at number 1. You've got Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU number 4, and Tennessee number 5. So what needs to happen? What needs to shake out here for Tennessee to kind of have a shot? And again, it'll be interesting to see what happens when the college football playoff rankings come out later this evening. Where do they put Oregon? I see some people putting Oregon up in that top 4, which is comical to me, because when you look at their resume, who have they beat? And the conversation is, well, if Oregon goes and wins the Pac-12, if they go win the Pac-12, do they not automatically deserve a shot? Well, maybe. Are we talking about who has the better resume, or are we talking about who wins their conference? You know, that's the question, because the one thing that Tennessee and Oregon have in common, they have both lost to the number 1 team in the country. Tennessee by 2 scores. Oregon got absolutely embarrassed and boat raced. So when you've got one common loss, I think you got to take a look at that. What do you guys think about that? Put it in the comments. I would love to see it. TCU, we're hoping they lose, right? They got Texas coming up on the road. They have to go on the road to play Texas. How good is TCU? We're going to find out on Saturday. If not, we're probably going to start to squirm. But even, let's say the college football playoff rankings come out, and this is exactly what it looks like. Let's say they have Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, Oregon, and LSU in the top 7. Let's say that's the way it comes out. The big key is who everybody has to play moving forward. Ohio State and Michigan set to play last game of the season, November the 26th. So one of those teams is going to drop. One of those teams is going to lose a game, and that's one way that Tennessee is going to be able to bump. And if the college football playoff rankings come out exactly like this, then Tennessee is going to sneak right up into that 4th spot and have an opportunity to go into the college football playoff. Ole Miss is another team to keep an eye on. Ole Miss only has one loss on the season. Their remaining schedule, they've got Alabama coming up this Saturday at 3:30. Does Nick Saban lose his third game of the season? It is so much fun. It is absolutely so much fun to sit back and watch these Alabama fans start to squirm and turn on the GOAT, on the head coach, on Nick Saban. But I also find it kind of comical. You scroll down here, you see Ole Miss number 11 right behind Alabama there. Ole Miss, a one-loss Ole Miss isn't as good as Alabama according to the AP poll. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out as they take on Ole Miss and Alabama, play this Saturday, 3:30. But the interesting thing you're going to have to watch is if Ole Miss gets that win, how far do they jump? And then they're going to have an opportunity to go to Atlanta more than likely because they've got Arkansas and Mississippi State coming up to wrap up the end of their schedule. So, yeah, if they lose to Alabama, they're not going to be a problem, not going to have to worry about them. We'll see what happens there. But what about LSU? What about a 2-loss LSU team? And again, it's the conversation of, well, what if you're a conference champion? Do you deserve to be in the college football playoff? If you're the SEC champion, don't you think you deserve to be in the college football playoff? LSU has Arkansas coming up this Saturday. They've got UAB and then Texas A&M. So LSU should finish the season with only 2 losses. And depending on how that Ole Miss-Alabama game shakes out this weekend, LSU could find themselves in the SEC championship playing against Georgia. What if a 2-loss LSU team beats Georgia in Atlanta? What happens to the college football playoff rankings then? Are you going to take a 2-loss LSU over a 1-loss Georgia and a 1-loss Tennessee because they're the SEC champions? I mean, I kind of think that you would have to do that. I think you would have to consider it. But then the whole system is completely broken if that's the case. If you've got a 2-loss team, what are you going to do? You're going to take 3 SEC teams? You're going to take Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU? Going to be a lot to keep an eye on. These last few weeks are going to be a lot of excitement to see how the Final Four shakes out. And it's why, again, man, Ben McKee on the show last week, and I asked him about the college football playoff and expanding it, and does it take away from the regular season? And he said no, he didn't think so. He thought it was going to create a lot of fun football. This is fun football, to see how this Final Four shakes out. Because, of course, we're invested. Because as Tennessee fans, we have a lot on the line, a whole lot on the line. But you're going to be keeping an eye on LSU. What happens to them? You're going to be watching that Ole Miss-Alabama game this Saturday. A lot on the line right there. Does Ole Miss sneak their way into the SEC championship? You're going to be watching that Ohio State-Michigan game. You're going to be watching TCU and Texas because it matters. Every single game matters in this top 5, top 10 for Tennessee. Now you flip over and look at what Tennessee has to do. Tennessee just has to take care of their business, and they should do that. Missouri this Saturday, ESPN FPI has Tennessee at 92.8% to beat Missouri. Then you've got to go on the road and take on South Carolina, 7 p.m. kickoff. That stadium's going to be rocking. It's not going to be Georgia. It's not going to be Georgia level loud. You would hope that this Tennessee football team learned a lot by going on the road and playing in that hostile environment. Will they be ready for the atmosphere in South Carolina? Still like the matchup, even though what I said in the preseason, South Carolina's shown they are who they are. They're still sitting at 6-3, 3-3 in conference play. But the ESPN FPI has Tennessee at 86.3% odds of winning that game as well. Then you finish out the season against Vanderbilt. The ESPN FPI there has it at 96%. So Tennessee heavily favored in all 3 games to close out the year. So they go take care of business, and then we'll sit and see how the rest of the league plays out, how Michigan, Ohio State plays out. What do you guys think? The odds continue to go up of Tennessee back in their way. And we didn't want to have this conversation leading into Georgia because none of us wanted to lose that game. We didn't want to drop that game to Georgia. We wanted to win. We wanted to go to Atlanta. That was the goal. Josh Heupel said as much. It was always the goal to go to Atlanta. That's off the board. Scratch that out. Now the goal is the college football playoffs, and Tennessee has a shot. Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Again, no live stream tonight. I apologize. I know most of you guys understand, but if you knew how much I hated not being able to get on here and talk Tennessee football with you guys, especially those of you that are members of the channel and you contribute to what we do. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We'll get back in shape hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Appreciate you guys being patient with me. If you have not done so yet, please smash a thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the merch. You guys know where. Bonfire.com/store/TalkinVols. That's going to do it for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.